Bienvenido a clase. Today we're on página 46 of Pasos. La sección se llama En casa or en clase, something like that, maybe the other way around. En casa means at home. The word for our is nuestro. En nuestro caso, en clase, en casa would work because we're doing our clase de español en casa con un video. La sección se trata de la geografía. You'll find that little phrase, se trata de, really useful. It means it's about, is about. La sección se trata de la geografía de América Latina. It's now actividad número, or what number is it? 22. It says, mira el mapa. Now what I would like you to do is copiar el mapa like this, so it's blank, and then make this lista. Well, I'll put it up for you. Peru, which Lima, Chile, Santiago, Argentina, Buenos Aires. We've got Uruguay, Paraguay, Bolivia, Brazil. Cuidado, careful. En Brazil no hablan español, hablan portugués. And that's it. So then tienes la forma del subcontinente y tienes la lista de los países. And what I'd like you to do is cerrar el libro and then sketch out where you think these places are. ¿Por qué? Why? Porque estudiamos español y es interesante saber, to know, dónde están los países donde se habla español. So, once you've copied el mapa, just the outline, cerrar el libro, pause the video and sketch on los países. Next, with actividad 22, it says lee el texto. Bueno, hay vocabulario que entiendes en el texto y hay vocabulario que no entiendes en el texto. Of course, you can guess a little bit, but let's go through it. Perdón. Tiene, really important word. It means it has. Muy lejos, you know this one, very far. Al oeste del continente, entiendes, you understand. Los Andes son los montañas in is it east or west? Oeste del continente. También, lovely word, it means as well. Habitantes, entiendes, extremo sur del país, the extreme south of the country. Claro, entiendes. Let's look at un poco de vocabulario que no entiendes yet, todavía. So, una larga faja de tierra. So that's a long strip. Tierra means earth, and la tierra, the earth, another word for el mundo, the world. 200 kilómetros de ancho. So de ancho is how wide it is, de ancho. And then 4,000 kilómetros de largo. Okay, Chile is a very long, thin country. Okay, el desierto más seco. Desierto, entiendes, más seco. Do you think that's going to be the wettest or the driest? Claro, it's the driest. So seco is dry. El mundo la tierra, words for the world, the earth. Antarctica. Isn't that strange? It sounds like a child is saying Antarctica. So Antártida. Bien. And then al final, dos palabras para describir la ciudad de Santiago. Limpia means clean, limpia. Y ordenada, and that's ordered, clean and tidy. Limpia y ordenada. Ahora means now. Ahora. Pause the video and lee el texto sobre Chile. Y finalmente, for actividad 22, on the top right of página 46, there's that little table. So copy that and you are going to rellenar, which means to fill in. Rellenar la tabla con la información. So it wants la situación, ¿dónde está? You could write a little bit about ¿dónde está? Superficie. This is cuántos kilómetros cuadrados. So what you need to do is multiply 200 by 4,000, okay, for your kilómetros cuadrados. Do you like that? I like that. Habitantes. Of course, this is cuántas personas. Maybe you could write the word rather than write the number. It's up to you. Capital, pon, which means put, pon el nombre del capital y maybe dos detalles sobre la capital, el capital. You need to check, okay? Because it's important to keep checking so that you know the el género of these nouns. Otra información. ¿Qué tiene? What does it have? ¿Qué tiene el país? So now, pause the video to copy la tabla y rellenar la información. Actividad 23 builds upon actividad, 22. So en 22 you had información sobre Chile. 23 te da la tabla de información sobre Argentina. And they want you to mirar la información y escribe un párrafo. So what they want is oraciones completas. Quieren oraciones completas. In other words, you need to put in the words like it is. For where? Está. It has. Tiene. Now, when you're talking about la superficie, you could just say tiene, it has, and the number of square kilometers, kilómetros cuadrados, or you could say consta de, and that means it's made up of. It's nice, it's a nice phrase, consta de, and then el número de kilómetros cuadrados. Su capital, you could just say su capital es Buenos Aires, or you could say se llama, all right? It's not restricted to people. Se llama, it's called. And that will probably be enough. Te dan una oración completa, you can just copy that. And there is another bit of información, you could use hay. Hay, it means there is. All right, don't be tempted to use es or está when you want to say there is. Use hay. This is something that takes people a lot of time to get acostumbrado, to get used to. But you can do it. Use I. Okay? And then you could always have a little look on Wikipedia. Switch el lenguaje to español and see cuánto entiendes. Bien, I'll ask you to pause the video and get writing. You can always put your written work in the description for me to read, or you can write to me, ruth@spanglishfantastico.com. Okay, pause. Muy bien. Now, when you are writing or reading about America Latina, I don't know si te das cuenta del tamaño. Now, te das cuenta is a lovely phrase you might want to use if you realize, si te das cuenta de la escala de América Latina, es enorme. Por ejemplo, Argentina is almost 12 veces mayor en tamaño que Inglaterra, que Gran Bretaña, Inglaterra, Escocia, Gales e Irlanda del Norte. Bien. Now, the next thing to do is on página 47, se llama Rincón Cultural y se trata de Venezuela. Venezuela está en el norte del continente. And of course, claro, as you go north, it gets warmer. This is on the Caribbean Sea, el Mar Caribe. All right, so before we start, I'd like to do un poco de vocabulario contigo. And what I would like you to do is just scan through el texto sobre Venezuela, look for los números. And if you can, say them out loud. So you're going to have 25 million millones. Actually, it's up to about 33, 34 millones now. 2,800, so 2,000, have a look. And 3.5. They say 3,5. Simon Bolívar nació, he was born, nació, and now for years they do 1,783. So can you figure out how to say that? Pause the video, I'll come back and tell you on the other side. I'd like to look un poco at el vocabulario. This is vocabulario relacionado con la geografía. So this text on Venezuela is very rich en ese vocabulario. Let's have a look at some of it. And you could maybe do a little sketch de un país and label it. Right, you've got la costa, which is the coast, y el mar. Un lago. Un lago is a lake. That's okay. It's a strong cognate. You're going to remember that. La capital. On la costa, you've got playas, of course, beaches. Such an important word when we are going de vacaciones, perhaps. Llanuras is a bit more, well, a bit less common. Llanuras means plains, as in the Great Plains, as in large areas of flat land. Llanuras, las llanuras. Rio, that's a more important word, it's more common. Rio, of course, is a river. El Rio Grande, the big river. Okay. Selva. Selva is a jungle or a forest, although I do usually use bosque for forest, like bois, the French word, bosque, and selva more for the jungle. So my dear friend Gina, I called her selvática, from the jungle, a girl from the jungle. Catarata, you'll find that on a river. It is a, well, you can guess, can't you? A waterfall. Las cataratas. Y en Venezuela hay la catarata, doesn't it sound nice? Más alta, the tallest, del mundo, Angel Falls. You also have montañas, which are mountains, a strong cognate. A mountain range is cordillera. I'd like you also to try to say, ¿qué hay donde tú vives? And maybe you don't have una cordillera. Maybe you don't have montañas. Do you have colinas, which are hills? ¿Qué hay donde tú vives? Also en el vocabulario de la geografía, we have to think about las ciudades, cities, los pueblos, towns and villages, and los edificios, an edifice, a building. Okay? So there is your vocabulario. Recomiendo that you do a little sketch and label it, because this is such visual vocabulario, and that's a good way to help la memoria. And then I would like you just to read and enjoy el texto sobre Venezuela. Pause the video to do that trabajo. I'll tell you one more thing about Venezuela. I love how they talk Spanish. It's really clear. Tienen un acento muy bonito. Bien. Okay, so we are at el final de la clase de hoy, and we're almost at the end of Unidad 3. You've got autoevaluación, and I'm going to talk about that now. And then in the next lesson, un poquito de la gramática, el vocabulario. Okay? Autoevaluación, you've got your list of things, 5 things that they want you to be able to do. Para mí, en mi opinión, es más fácil, it's easier, to write, escribir algo, primero. So without really looking back at the book, just to find out where you are, what you've learned recientemente. To escribir unas notas, and then to get your mobile phone and put it on selfie mode and make a little video. Grabar un video of the things that you can say. Remember, este curso is about learning how to speak Spanish, cómo hablar español sin mirar el libro, sin mirar las palabras. And what it does is it gives you a great starting point, so that when you go to España, Mexico, Colombia, Peru, you really begin from a much higher level. Okay. And I hope that you can, when you get there, you really manage to dominar el lenguaje. But it's all but testing yourself, testing what you know now without looking is a really importante parte del proceso. So have a go at that. Treat that as your SMART goals for this section, and when you're happy with it, come back and we will estudiar un poquito de la gramática juntos. Entonces, muchas gracias for participating en la clase de hoy. Give the video a like, subscribe of course, and I will see you muy pronto para la próxima. Hasta entonces, adiós.